All right, some bad news here. The happiest place on earth is getting even more expensive. Disney says it is raising ticket prices for its theme parks during peak days in both Anaheim and Orlando, starting immediately.
That's not one family. That's the pattern. $209, one park, one day. No rides included. That's a Magic Kingdom-based ticket in 2026. And while families are doing that math at the gate, Josh D'Amaro, the newly named Chief Executive Officer of the Walt Disney Company, is inheriting a very different set of numbers. Here's the part D'Amaro doesn't want you calculating. $209 is the new record high. Disney World has never breached the $200 barrier before. It just did. And here's where it gets worse. That price doesn't include parking. $35 extra. It doesn't include line access. Lightning Lane Multi-Pass runs up to $45 more per person at Magic Kingdom alone. A family of 4. Base tickets only. By $836 before the gates open. That's before one meal, one Lightning Lane pass, one parking space. Now watch what happens next. Attendance isn't surging. It's flat. Disney's own earnings data confirms it. Domestic park attendance was up just 1% in the most recent quarter after adjusting for 2024 hurricane closures. In plain terms, Disney raised prices to record highs and barely moved the turnstile count. 20 minutes down the road, Universal just posted its most profitable theme park quarter in history. Disney's official first quarter fiscal 2026 earnings release confirms it. Experiences division revenue crossed $10 billion in a single quarter for the first time. That sounds like a win. Read the next line. Per capita spending, the average amount each guest spent, rose 4%. Attendance was essentially flat. What that means for you, Disney made more money per person, not from more people. The extraction model is working exactly as designed. Let me say that again. Record revenue. Flat crowd. Higher cost per visitor. That is not a growing business. That is a business squeezing harder. The official earnings call on February 2nd, 2026, included a direct warning from outgoing CEO Bob Iger. Disney is, in his words, mindful of international visitation headwinds and the evolving competitive landscape in Florida. What they're really saying is, fewer foreign tourists are coming. Universal is competing for every Orlando vacation dollar, and Disney shifted its marketing toward domestic visitors to compensate. American families are now the backup plan. Here's the part nobody's talking about. Comcast's fourth quarter 2025 earnings. Universal theme park revenue up 22% year over year. Quarterly profit crossed $1 billion for the first time ever. $1.035 billion in a single quarter. Comcast's Chief Financial Officer Jason Armstrong confirmed the driver directly. Epic Universe is driving higher spending and attendance across the entirety of the resort, and that's just the beginning. Universal is still running Epic Universe below full capacity, intentionally. They are holding ticket sales lower than the park can handle, and still posted a $1 billion profit quarter. What that actually does, it means Universal's numbers are going to get bigger. Disney's window to respond is narrowing with every quarter. Here's how the trap was built. Not a theory, a documented sequence. First, Disney removed free FastPass, completely. Lightning Lane replaced it at up to $45 per person per day. What that actually does, Disney engineered longer wait times by eliminating free line management, then sold you the solution to the problem it created. Second, dynamic pricing was introduced for base tickets. The ceiling keeps rising. $209 is the new top. What they're really saying is, there is no cheap Disney day anymore, only less expensive days that are still expensive. Third, per capita spending targets replaced attendance growth as the core business metric. In plain terms, Disney's parks are no longer built on volume. They're built on extraction. This fourth, Universal's initial multi-day lock meant guests purchasing Epic Universe access had to buy 3-day or longer multi-park tickets. Here's what that actually does. Families chose Universal for the whole trip. They didn't split the week. Disney never saw them at all. D'Amaro built this division. He ran every piece of it. Now he runs the entire company. Imagine you're a family of 4 from Ohio. Peak summer week, Magic Kingdom only. Base tickets alone, $836. Add parking, Lightning Lane, and 2 meals, you're over $1,400 for one park. One day. That's before a single ride loads. Picture this scenario. A grandparent on a fixed income taking 2 grandchildren for a milestone birthday. The Lightning Lane system means choosing between 90-minute waits per attraction or spending an additional $90 on top of admission. That's not a premium option. That's a tax on a day you already paid to enter. Imagine you're a mid-income family that visited Disney every 3 years. You ran the 2026 numbers. You booked Universal instead. That's not a threat. That's already in the earnings data. Picture this scenario. A solo traveler who saved and budgeted based on last year's prices. They arrive to find peak day tickets jumped again. The budget they planned is already broken at the gate. Before Lightning Lane, before food, before anything else. And here's the one that stings most. Imagine you saved for 18 months for a Disney trip. Tomorrow's first-year compensation as incoming CEO is approximately $38 million. That family of 4 from Ohio is doing math at the ticket window on whether one day is worth it. 18 months of saving. One day, one park, one decision Disney made for them. That gap is the story. That gap is what flat attendance actually means. Disney's official response follows a consistent playbook. Frame record revenue as proof the model works. Attribute softness to external factors. Point to future investment as confidence. On the February 2nd call, Iger acknowledged being mindful of headwinds and said Disney is more agile and more resilient. The hidden catch. The word mindful is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. DeMauro has not publicly addressed the pricing model since his appointment was announced. Disney stock fell 7% the week of the earnings call and CEO announcement combined. That's roughly $15 billion in market capitalization. Erased, in a week where Disney announced record park revenue and named a new leader. Here's the nuance worth stating. Disney's domestic attendance did grow 1% after adjusting for hurricane closures. The park's business is not collapsing, but trend lines matter more than snapshots. Universal's trend line is pointing sharply upward. Epic Universe is still below full capacity. Disney guided for only modest operating income growth next quarter, citing international headwinds. Now watch what comes next. Watch Disney's second quarter earnings call. If the domestic audience doesn't offset the international shortfall, the numbers will say what the executives won't. Watch Universal's next 2 quarters. If 20% plus revenue growth holds while Epic Universe scales toward full capacity, the competitive math becomes impossible to reframe. Watch 2026 summer ticket sales volume. Peak season demand is the first real test of whether the $209 ceiling holds or whether DeMauro blinks. Watch whether the Lightning Lane or dynamic pricing structure changes in his first year as CEO. Any modification signals acknowledgement that the model is under pressure. No change signals the extraction strategy continues regardless of what families are choosing across town. DeMauro takes over March 18th. The pricing system is his. The record revenue is his. The flat attendance warning is his. The billion-dollar competitor 20 minutes away is his to answer for. The $209 ticket doesn't disappear when leadership changes. It becomes DeMauro's number to defend. And the next earnings call will tell us whether he's defending a strategy or retreating from one.